Good morning. Good morning. What's going on, guys? It's June 9th, and I wanted to drop a. I'm looking to add more content into my YouTube channel and in hopes to help you guys understand a little bit more how I trade. I got asked yesterday when I dropped my TA on Saturday. Someone said, your technical analysis is pretty simple, and I answered back, it's based on naked price action, and that's what it is. When I first started, I would use a lot of technicals, indicators. I would use all crazy stuff, the MACDs, the RSI, and pretty much nowadays, what I really do look at is naked price action, and then I turn on my EMAs, then I start drawing up my zones, but I'm more focused on naked price action. And I think that a lot of people have that misunderstanding. I don't think that a lot of people understand how markets work. Markets don't just do this, okay? When you see something like that in a market, that's based on probably a report that came out, a news that came out, and this is called euphoria. Markets don't do that. What markets tend to do is they move in three ways. Let me erase this here real quick. And what markets do is there's only three cycles in the market. And those three cycles is this. This is not what I want. This is what I want. There we go. Markets do this. Okay? This is called consolidation or sideways or ranging. Okay? That's one. The other one is the one that we all want, right? Which is this. Bullish. And the other one is bearish. But this is the key. These are the three ways that the market moves. It really doesn't move any other way, right? It's only three cycles in the market. But people have that misunderstanding. On a good day, not having Trump tweet or having a major data report come out, on a typical day, the market does this if it's bullish, right? But people fail to understand that it's going to come back and it's going to retest this zone here, right? Because every time that a high is broken, right, and a new one's made, it needs to come back and retest, right? And then if things continue to be bullish, it's going to continue to go up again, right? And fundamentally and figuratively, that's how, that's what markets do, right? It doesn't do anything else. Come back, range, back, range, right? And then some people use, obviously trend lines, right, to say, okay, if it breaks this trend line, we're going bearish. I use Fibonacci, right, to look at my zones, right? And if you can see that, that's a 50 there, and it helps you with confluences for you to determine whether the market is going to go up or go down. But I see a lot of people, when you see a trade and it's going bullish, and they're like, oh, I'm going to buy here. And chances are that you bought here. And then you wonder why you keep losing on your trade, because now you have to look at the market and you have to ask yourself, did it break the previous high? If it did break the previous high, there's about an 80% chance. Listen to me, and I mean, I'm not coming up with these numbers. This is proven, okay? This is a proven based on stats that every time that a high, okay, a previous high has been broken, there's an 80% chance that the market needs to retrace. And it might retrace back to the 602, the 0.62, or the 50, or the 0.76, right? And that's going to be on another video that I'm going to talk about Fibonacci and their percentages and what they really mean. But yeah, I'm going to be touching that. It's a little bit. It's going to be a little bit more dedicated. But yeah, I can, depending on what I look at in Fibonacci, if it's coming back, so you can get an idea what I'm going to be talking about in that future video about Fibonacci. If I see the market and it retouches back to 50, yeah, it's a bullish market, but it doesn't have too much momentum. If I do start seeing a reversal on a 6.2, I'm telling you that the market it's a little bit more, it has more momentum. And if I see just a 0.706, right, retracement, I can tell you that it's extremely bullish and it has a lot of momentum and has a lot of volatility. And what we might see is, you know, just an explosion of a move, right? But that's going to be in another video, and I'm not going to be touching that on that. But what I do see is that people say, okay, I'm going to buy, and they wait for this high, right? They wait this high to be broken, which is fine, and then they buy here, and they're like, oh shit, I lost. Why is the market pulling back? Well, because that's what the market does. So what you would need to do is you would need to, okay, the high was broken, right? Now the high was broken. Now I'm gonna wait for the market to pull back, and now I'm gonna determine whether the market is gonna continue for continuation for a bullish, right? And once you start seeing the pullback, the retest, this is where you need to buy. So okay, so that you can go ahead. Sorry. So that you can go ahead and ride this all the way up to a previous break of another high, or to a zone that you had here, or to another high. You know, you see what I'm saying? But I see a lot of people that they buy here, and then when the market pulls back, and they're like, oh, why? Well, because the market just doesn't do this. Doesn't do that. You're forgetting the moves here. You know, there's moves that need to be made, because if not, that creates imbalances. It creates FEGs if you're in ICT or whatever whatever the hell you're in. But you know, the market just doesn't continue to go up, right? And if you look at my Bitcoin, right, my BTC, what do you see here? What are you seeing? We had this huge pump, right? Look at my fib. Where's the fib now? It has to come back. Why? Because it broke this structure, right? And now it went up. It popped up to the 0.62, and it came back to the 0.5. And you see the market, how it's reversing now? And this is where you needed to buy if you wanted to go in and trade bullish on Bitcoin. But you can't, you can't buy here and expect that the market's just going to continue to go up. No, you need to let the market come back, cool off, right? Clear out this zone here, and then once you could probably use an EMA, or you can use the Fibonacci or your trend line. Once you see that, the pullback, and it retests the previous high, and you start seeing that the market wants to continue for a continuation, this is where you go ahead and you start buying. This is where you go ahead and put in order to go buy. So, and then you're aiming for a previous zone, or saying, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ride it to this previous high, to the previous high, etc. And that's how you trade. But a lot of people forget, they think that the market just continues to go up, or if it's bearish, they think that the market is going to continue to go bearish without retesting these zones. And it doesn't work that way, guys. The only days that you see that the market does something like this, like that, that's based on news, that's on data reports, but not on normal technical days. Okay? So today we're trading technical, so that's why you're seeing that it's so beautiful. It's retesting beautifully, right? And now we got to start, obviously looking at my BTC, I would have to come back down and saying, okay, are we bullish, or are we continuing to be bullish? Is there anything now that is going to make the market turn around and be bearish again, or is this going to want to continue to go up? And that's how you trade, right? Everything else that you see online, and the bullshit, it's just plain bullshit, guys. And that's why a lot of you guys, you guys are failing because you're not understanding proper market structure. So I hope this video, is short. I didn't want to do it too long. It's 9 minutes, but I know it's not too informative, but it gives you a rough idea of market structure, and I hope it helps you guys. But yeah, I'm looking to continue to do these short videos, and these short videos that I get inspired by the questions that I get asked on Involio, by people that ask me certain things, and that inspires me to go ahead and say, oh shit, I think this is a common problem. Let me go ahead and do a video about it. So yeah, so go ahead and follow, subscribe, and keep an eye out on my YouTube channel, so I can continue. You're going to start continuing to see these videos in the future. All right, later, bro. I hope you guys kill it. Peace.